follow us on Twitter at 90s Percentile. And if you'd like more content from WEE Studios, check us out at weepodcast.com, WEE podcast.com, where you can find our Simpsons podcast, Worst Episode Ever, and our movie commentary series, Sync Points.
And if you want to support the show, you can help us out by clicking our Amazon links. That's at weepodcast.com. You click the links and shop like you normally would, and we get a small percentage.
Thanks, guys.
60 minutes are on the clock, and straight out of WEE Studios, this is 90s Percentile. My name is Dan.
My name is Jack, and we're talking everything 90s and maybe also everything before and after.
Yeah, and today we are guestless.
Yeah, nobody wanted to come.
No one's here. We have just an empty chair at an empty table.
I mean, to be honest, putting that big sign on the door of WEE Studios that says "Get Out" is not the most welcoming.
Not the most friendly.
But
no.
I don't know. I think we just needed some me time.
We need some us time, Jack.
Yeah.
It's never just the two of us anymore. We always got Harry Nelson or Dan Osley just coming in, Nick Noga talking about whatever the hell he was talking about. Let's get back to the 90s. That's what we need to do. You and me, back to basics, back to episode 1 style.
Okay, so what's our first 90s topic?
Okay, so going into the random topic generator here, our first topic, it comes from a man
named...
By the
way...
Okay. Yes.
We still haven't really come up with a good name for the random topic generator. I do like random topic generator, the RTG. It's not the least.
But here's the thing: it's not generating the topics. You listeners are submitting the topics on our website.
The random topic communicator.
Which I don't think we ever say that. We don't say that enough.
What?
You guys submit the topics. Do you know that? Are you listening?
Don't we say it every episode?
I don't remember. I don't remember saying it last episode. Go to our website. Go to weepodcast.com. You can click through 90 percentile there, and
give us your topics.
Put a topic. But here we go with our first topic. It's random. It's a topic, and I've picked it from Brian Moss. It is Dunkaroos.
Wow! So thank you, Brian Moss, for generating that topic.
Wow! And let's see what conversation is generated from that.
Yeah, not much. It's just the cookies and cream. But
yep. All right. Next topic. No, let's do it. Dunkaroos were awesome. If you don't know what they are, they were a little cookie pack where you would get little chocolate cookies, and there was vanilla frosting that you would dip the cookies in.
I always, when they first came out, I remember when they were actually invented. It was
handy snacks, but cookies.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I always considered them the dessert version of handy snacks, which were the crackers, the cheese, and the red stick.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was no red stick. You didn't need it. You could just dunk it in, and that's why it was a Dunkaroo, baby.
So why did you need to stick with the? I guess cheese is a little harder to dip.
You didn't. Well, it was not really a soft cheese. It was hard.
Why wouldn't they just make it a soft cheese?
I don't know.
If I'm a second grader in the New York City public elementary school system,
you were at one point.
I want soft cheeses.
I want like a brie.
I want like a nice brie.
And a little brioche bun with that, too.
I just want like a little caviar, a little brie.
Gourmet handy snacks is not a bad idea. Could you imagine
What would the name of gourmet handy snacks be? Like handy snacks sounds like working class.
It would be like Monos snack.
What's wait. You're going to you're traveling out of the country in a few months.
I am.
And we were having a conversation earlier about how I was like, you should get a translator app.
Yes.
So hold on, I want to translate.
Okay,
let's find out what the best fancy language handy snacks would be. I'm assuming French.
Probably French. I was trying to think of what hand is in French, and I couldn't remember. M-A-I-N-S is Mons.
All right.
Snack du Mons.
Here, I've got the... let me just look this up real quick.
Okay,
here.
We're looking it up. I don't know what it is.
Dunkaroos is our topic.
Dunkaroos, yeah.
So I'm going to look up iTranslate while you give us the history of Dunkaroos.
You got it, Jack. So they came out in 1990, so the late 90s.
Actually, it says 1988. The early 90s.
Well, that's weird because on Wikipedia it says introduced in 1988, but then it says it's a snack food from Betty Crocker, first launched in 1990. So I don't know what that
it was
means.
Introduced in 1988, but it took 2 years for it to be ready for the market.
For the world to acclimate to Dunkaroos.
They were beta testing it. Lots of people were dying. It took 2 years to get the formula right so that people weren't turning into giant chocolate kangaroos.
They really had to fix that the flavor problems that were turning people into kangaroos, I guess.
I would consider that a problem.
Yeah, I would. Unless you're in Australia, because I got plenty of kangaroos. And that's why it was called Dunkaroos. The mascot was a cartoon kangaroo, and I've just learned a very interesting fact about it, but we'll talk about that in a second. I want to hear what the French translator app is going to say.
Do you want to hear it's a French translation or a French-Canadian translation?
I want to hear French-Canadian. Okay. And this is for handy snacks, not Dunkaroos, right?
We're going to translate handy snacks. Yeah, because Dunkaroos is already a classy name.
It is. It's you got the people of Australia, they flocked to Dunkaroos like nothing else. It was that and Outback Steakhouse. They love them both.
All right.
Here we go.
Handy snacks.
En cas pratique.
Encom pratique. That's
Encom pratique. There you go.
Encom pratique.
The gourmet handy snack.
The gourmet handy
featuring
snack.
brie.
I don't. Let's just give one more shot here.
Okay.
Let's see. What's another fancy language that's not even like a romantic
Let's do
European language?
Chinese, like Mandarin. Does that app have Mandarin on it?
Oh, of course it does.
Oh, of course it does. I think our
Or
French
do you want
Canadian
it?
listeners,
Or do you want it in Catalan?
our French. Let's do Catalan.
Or Saudi or UAE, Arabic.
Ladies' choice, Jack. But I think our French Canadian listeners are probably like, "Oh, that was a cuss word in French Canadian."
Here's Mandarin.
Okay.
Handy snacks.
方便的小吃
Feng Bian Yin Xiao Shi. So
There you go.
I don't.
I'm salivating already.
I already forgot what the French one was. So
Yeah, I did something like camera sticks or something.
just call them handy snacks.
Just call them handy snacks. But if you want to class up the
Les
place,
handy snacks.
Le handy snack.
Yeah.
And you say it in a snooty French accent. We don't have any listeners in France that I know of, so
Not anymore.
France can go fuck itself. No, it can't. I like France. It's a great country.
Yeah. No. Anyway, we were talking about this. Maybe last episode or maybe a
Okay.
few episodes ago. Maybe it was a while ago. But we were talking about how the traditional cold lunch you would get as a grade schooler in
Right.
the 90s. You'd get a sandwich or something. You would get a bag of chips, and you would get maybe a little bag of fruit snacks.
I feel like I rarely got sandwiches in school.
Did you do hot lunch or cold lunch?
Hot lunches? We didn't have like a cold lunch thing.
I'm
in
talking
my
like the
school.
cold lunch environment, like the paper
Oh,
bag,
okay.
the lunchbox. You would get a sandwich, you'd get a thermos full of like juice
So
or iced tea.
you brought lunch,
Right, exactly.
Right,
That's
okay,
what
I
that.
didn't bring lunch.
All right. So the different in public school, it was hot lunch, cold lunch. Hot lunch was you were paying the government, and you were
Right,
you're
right,
getting
right, okay.
your parents would get the menu every week and
Uh-huh.
everything. Cold lunch was brown bagging it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I guess the idea being that you couldn't keep your food warm in
Right.
the lunchbox.
No, you can't.
So yeah, you would get basically a sandwich, a snack, a drink, or maybe a second snack.
Yeah.
But there were certain snacks that were just like that was a special day.
There's a snack
Like
hierarchy.
I would get like Lay's potato chips, but when I
Right.
got Doritos, that was cool.
Yeah.
You would get bag of fruit snacks, but when you get Shark Attack, that was cool.
Shark Attack was the best.
Anyway.
I hope someone submits Shark Attack because I could talk 90 minutes about Shark Attack. But continue.
So Dunkaroos was like next
Dunkaroos-
level. That was
yeah.
like that was just like it was like having a fucking ice cream in your lunchbox basically.
There were very few snack foods that I was not really allowed to get that my mom would not buy
Because
at
it
the
was just
grocery
pure
store.
sugar?
Dunkaroos was one of them. I only ever had it at other people's houses.
Man, your mom was a tyrant.
She really was
a tyrant.
like
Anti-Australian,
Shark Attack-
anti-dunk.
Shark Attack we would buy at Costco or Price Club as it was called then. We would get a huge box and I would eat half of the box, like
All right.
10 pouches.
I love your mother. In
one sitting.
I don't want to disparage her
Uh-oh.
on public radio,
You
but
better not.
but Meffrey, this is directly to
People
you.
don't know what Meffrey is. That's a different show.
They know. Meffrey is Dan Mulhall's mother's
Sure.
name.
That's right. That's right. I guess now they know.
Listen to our Simpsons podcast.
Worst episode
That's-
ever.
I don't even know if there's an explanation there.
I don't think there is.
Meffrey, Shark Attack is no more healthier than Dunkaroos. I just need to make that clear.
My mom would not even remember what Shark Attack is. And it didn't help that we'd also buy like a pound of Swedish fish because the entire family liked Swedish fish, and we would just eat them.
and
That was gone in a week.
But why does Costco sell a pound of Swedish fish? Shouldn't they just sell one giant Swedish fish that you would like carve up with a carving knife?
You, sir, are talking about the height of luxury and decadence.
What's Swedish fish in Sweden? In Swedish, let's
It's
see.
just fish.
It's just fish. Let me see.
There's a
here.
surprising fact I'm learning on Wikipedia
Yeah.
that we need to talk about after we look up the
No,
Swedish fish
let's talk
thing.
about it now. 'Cause
Well,
this app takes a while.
I also want to say the other things my mom wouldn't let me eat. Fruit by the foot and Gushers.
She was big on the metric system. She really didn't want anything measured
right.
by foot or hogshead.
Dunkaroos being part of the metric system.
It's 10 dunks to the roux.
10 dunks to the roux. That's right. Yeah, that's why the 10 cookies would come.
Was it 10 cookies?
Maybe. What does it say on Wikipedia? Yeah, it
I don't
says,
think they say how many cookies are in there, do
containing
they?
about 10 small cookies and 1 cubic inch of
Holy
icing.
shit. We were just joking around,
Yeah,
but we
but
were
we
actually...
We are discovering truth.
We're on Dunka Profits. We
Dunka profits. No, the surprising fact that I'm learning from Wikipedia page. We all remember the Dunkaroos mascot. You don't just eat your Dunkaroo.
that was New Zealand. That was not Australia.
It was not New Zealand. It was Australia, mate.
That's very New Zealand.
Oh, you don't know. Let's watch Lord of the Rings.
And I don't know what the adjective for New Zealand is. New Zealander?
Zealish. No, I have no idea.
Zealish is great.
Yeah, they're New Zealots.
Okay.
It's a thing. But no, what I'm learning here is the
New
mascot.
Zinglish. No, never
New
mind.
Zinglish. That could be something.
New
that just looks
Zealand.
like news.
No, I was
English.
thinking England ends with land and
Right.
Zealand ends with land, so I was
so
trying to do
English.
English, but I think it's the G that's giving it the ish,
New
right?
English. Yeah,
What's
I think
another
so.
country that ends in land? Greenland.
Finland. That's
Finnish. Oh, so it is ish to land.
So New Zealish.
There's an ish to land.
There's an ish to land ratio.
Okay, so New Zealish.
New Zealish. I
All
think
right.
that has to be right.
That has to be right.
We use
based
logic.
on our
Yeah.
hard science.
Greenland is greenish.
Anyway, so your Australian accent sounds New Zealand.
Well, all right then. Chaz was us then.
You were saying.
So the name of the cartoon kangaroo mascot was Sydney.
Never do that.
I didn't know that his
I
name was
thought I would have
Sydney.
thought Canberra would have been a better name, but it's just me.
He wore a hat, a vest, and a tie, and spoke an Australian accent. And he was voiced by John Cameron Mitchell.
That's a very
Do you know who John
familiar
Cameron Mitchell
name.
is?
That's a sound. It's ringing a
He
bell.
is the writer director of Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Really?
I had
Wait, he also
no
did
idea.
Short Bus. That's the movie where people had
Yes.
actual sex instead of simulated sex.
So, if you're not familiar with Hedwig and the Angry Inch, it was a off-Broadway play that has now been a Broadway play. It was a movie musical. I'm assuming you've seen it, Jack. Hedwig and the
I've
Angry
actually
Inch.
never seen Hedwig.
It is about a man.
I know. Yeah, I know all about it.
Who
but-
gets his penis cut off? That's the
Yeah.
Angry Inch. Is the inch that's left. It's very, very good. It's very strange.
Yeah, no, I've never actually sat down and watched it. Hedwig is the owl from
Harry Potter. Yes,
right?
but that's it's also
It's not the
this
same
character in the
It's
movie.
not the same
It's not-
Hedwig. I thought
Actually, it is.
I thought it was a prequel to the Harry Potter.
It's a prequel to the Harry Potter.
The owl loses his owl penis,
Yep.
all but an inch,
That's exactly right.
and he gets angry, and he goes, "I got to find me some wizards."
Yep, and that's how Harry Potter begins. He goes to Australia.
He also did Rabbit Hole, which I love. I think that's a great movie.
I've actually never seen Rabbit Hole, and I really want to, but I
Look at
know
that.
it's about Nicole Kidman's and Aaron Eckhart's son dying or
Yeah.
daughter dying, and it's just super sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Sometimes I like a sad movie.
No, it was very well done.
But anyway, my point is, I never in a million years would have thought that Hedwig from Hedwig and the Angry Inch was the voice of the Dunkaroos kangaroo.
Wait a second. So he's from El Paso. He lives in New York
Apparently.
City.
Yeah.
So he's not Australian. That's my point.
No.
I kind of just assumed Dunkaroos came from Australia. Now that I think about it, probably came from some Madison Avenue,
Well, it-
New York
It came from Betty,
Betty
Crocker.
Crocker.
I don't know why it was Australian themed. I just have to assume it was
marketing.
But they're like, okay, kids love cookies and dunking, and they love Australia.
I don't know. Captain Crunch. So what does the flavor of Captain Crunch have to do with the high seas?
I don't know.
What does Frosted Flakes have to do with tigers?
Everything. Tiger, burning bright
But I don't.
in the Frosted Flakes
But
at
for
night.
some reason, maybe because his name is Sydney, I was just picturing like a factory, like literally on the bay next to the Sydney Opera House,
Yeah.
where they're making Dunkaroos.
That's why there's just... That's where the Dunkaroos factory is,
It's
next
the
to the
Sydney Opera House.
Australia's not that big of a place.
You know, it really isn't.
It really isn't.
It's a huge landmass, but
Yeah.
everybody is crammed in like the same coastal like
There's
10
a
square.
lot of outback back there, so get you a blooming onion. I'm still just in shock that John Cameron Mitchell was the voice of the Dunkaroos.
That is very funny.
Do you think it would be possible to bring up the Dunkaroos commercial?
It would be, but first, before
translate something.
before we move too far,
All right.
Oops, sorry, I was distracted by your.
While you're doing that, you do that. I want to point out another interesting thing I'm learning on the Wikipedia page for Dunkaroos. It says previously the cookies were cinnamon flavored, which gross. But
no,
then
that's not gross.
But then
Get
it just
out of
says there may have also been a special Shrek edition featuring green frosting.
Really?
There may have been.
there. Wikipedia
It's
doesn't.
lost to time.
Wikipedia doesn't want to commit
Yeah.
to any. They don't have the hard facts like we
No,
do.
they don't. This is a factual podcast. So the legend begins. There may have been a Shrek edition.
Now that surprises me
Dunkaroos.
because I know Shrek's been around forever at this point, but to
Right.
me that feels after my childhood, and Dunkaroos are my childhood. My point is,
Yeah.
I would have thought Dunkaroos were gone by then. Are they still in print?
Shrek was about $2,000. Do they
$2,000?
2,000. It was about 2,000 years. Is what I meant. In the year 2000,
2000 is the number.
it cost $2,000 to make Shrek. That's what we're saying. Mike Myers worked for scale. The rest went to Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy, of course.
No, so I think Dunkaroos are still in production. It's apparently the height of their popularity was 1996.
You know, I do think, like, I don't know if this is a thing outside of New York. We have a lot of bodegas, corner stores, stuff like
Yeah.
that, where, you just pick up
I'm learning another fact, but I'll say it in a
you
second.
pick up like small groceries and stuff.
Yep.
And a lot of the ones in neighborhoods where I grew up in, and some around here too, they just like open up bags of fruit snacks and just sell them individually, which I
Right.
think is illegal, but they do it anyway.
Well, it's not supposed to be for unit sale.
Yeah.
It
So
says on the box.
I feel like I've been to a few. I could totally be making this up, but I feel like I've seen individual Dunkaroo packets on sale, like at the counter for $1.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd pay $1 for a Dunkaroo
Oh
right now.
yeah, I doubt it was $1. It's probably
50 cents?
inflation, like $1.75, $2,
Oh,
$2.50.
No, you could probably just buy a whole box for $3.50.
Yeah, but I mean, bodegas are always overpriced for
True.
for those
It's
kind
free
of stuff.
convenience. But I'm learning also that so John Cameron Mitchell, Hedwig and the Angry Inch, was the original mascot. Sydney. At the height of their popularity, there was a contest known as the Dunkaroos Kangaroo Search. I actually do remember that.
I feel like the kangaroo is redundant. It should have just been the Dunkaroos Kangaroo Search.
You're absolutely right.
The Dunkahoo.
Do you think we should change the Wikipedia page to make it say Dunkaroos Kangaroo Search?
If it's not
or
a
is
whole-
that inaccurate now?
No, we don't want
We
to
don't
put
wanna-
we don't want to put inaccurate information. We're just trying to make things better. What we should do is confirm the Shrek
We
thing
should
and take out
confirm
the may have.
Well, okay, so the new mascot was Duncan, the Duncan Daredevil. I do remember that. But
I don't
think
remember
we should,
any of this.
I think we should change it so it says there may have also been a special Shrek edition featuring green frosting, and we should add, or maybe there wasn't. I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah, let's do it. You want this?
Yeah, let me do that.
I'm passing him the wireless keyboard, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exciting podcast.
Oh, I was going to say, if Wikipedia is at this point taking may-haves, we could put anything. There may have been a Schindler's List version of
There may have
Dunkaroos.
been.
There may have been. It probably
I'm
wasn't.
not going to add that, but I am going to add.
There probably
this
wasn't,
right
but there may have been. Oh man, computer stuff is like, what's going on here? You're like in the Matrix right now. It says previously the cookies were cinnamon flavored. Ref http:/www stack
that's
memory.
code.
Man, that's all
That's
crazy
that's
stuff
a woman
to
in
me.
a red dress.
That's
All right, so
that's stuff I should have
we
learned.
have updated the Wikipedia page for Dunkaroos.
And while we're doing that, here's some Swedish fish in Swedish.
Svensk fisk.
Fisk.
Fisk. There you go.
Fisk, like
Fisk.
Wilson Fisk.
Like,
So he's actually Wilson Fish.
It's a rabbit in a snowstorm.
It's a fish in a snowstorm.
there you go.
Wait, so what's Wilson Fisk from Swedish to English?
It's like John Fish.
it's why would Wilson be John?
Wilson's Swedish for John. You didn't know that?
Stall for a minute.
All right, so I've read everything on the Dunkaroos, but well, no, we haven't. So they had vanilla icing with chocolate cookies, chocolate with graham cracker cookies.
I wanted to
Okay.
get into that in a second because I
Rainbow
did not.
sprinkle icing with chocolate chip graham cookies. What is it?
That was the usual one I think I got.
chocolate chip graham cookies. I remember the vanilla icing with
Oh,
chocolate
I love
cookies.
chocolate graham cracker,
I
chocolate
don't
flavored
think I've
graham
ever had a
crackers.
chocolate graham cracker.
That was a staple in my house. Chocolate flavored
man.
graham crackers.
My mom was such a tyrant.
My-
She would only let us eat bleached flour.
My mom, God bless her, the divorce was hard on everyone, and
Yeah.
she showered us in fruit snacks to try
appease you.
to try to close that wound.
to curry favor.
Yeah, no, she was great about the fruit snacks. I remember she kept them in this like tin. You know how like moms always just have random
love
containers.
tin. Yep.
So there was like this random container, like this tin basket that she kept on the top of the fridge, and it was just individual bags of various fruit snacks and stuff
Yeah.
that usually were for our lunch. But I was getting a little older. I was in junior high now, and now I would start to snack on my own.
It had to be in secret
I
that
didn't-
you'd eat the fruit snacks.
Well, I wasn't even in secret. It was, I was now old enough where I didn't have to rely on someone like cutting me up an apple or
yeah,
something.
right.
Anyway, so I had a birthday party. My mom bought like snacks and everything, and like pretzels and potato chips.
Right.
And my friends were still
Classic party
hungry.
snacks.
They were hanging out in the kitchen, and like they found a tin on top of the fridge, and they just started eating like my fruit by the foot and my Dunkaroos and
No
stuff.
way, man.
And I
I would
flipped
flip
out.
out. Yeah, there
and
you
my
go.
mom was like, "It's okay, honey," and I was just like, "No, that's ours."
Yeah, my fruit by the foot.
We were financially strapped. I was a weird kid. I like
You're a weird adult.
Whenever
too.
I would like knock something over and break it, I would cry and be like, "We don't have no money to buy a new glass."
So please click through our Amazon link
So
at 90s Percentile.
I was like equally offended that hey, those are my Dunkaroos, and hey,
Right.
my mom works 60 hours a week to pay for those Dunkaroos. And
You,
I just
you
remember
get your grubby mitts out of my tin.
the rage I had.
Yeah. Well, when I got to college and I was finally buying groceries for myself, I kind of went nuts and got all the things
Yeah.
that my mom
Yep.
wouldn't let me eat. So my mom would never buy Cookie Crisp I ate like an entire thing of Cookie Crisp and never ate it again.
Oh, Cookie Crisp was my number one cereal for a very long time.
Cookie Crisp, it's just cookies.
It's just cookies.
You're just eating cookies.
Yeah.
Like, how is that breakfast?
I don't understand how sugar cereals became a thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I certainly benefited from it for a very long time.
Yeah.
I don't eat cereal anymore. It's like completely. I can't. I might have. It might have been like 3 or 4 years since I've had a bowl of cereal, and I would have cereal for dinner. I'd have cereal for lunch.
See, I hated cereal back in the day. I never liked cereal. My family always had Frosted Flakes. I never liked Frosted Flakes. And like nowadays, I do. I like a cereal, like Special K with some berries or something.
No,
That's good stuff.
I loved cereal growing up. There wasn't a cereal I didn't like. There was a few where I was like, oh, that's not great.
Yeah.
But 99% of the different kinds I loved. When I was partially raised by my grandparents, we had cornflakes, but we would pour the sugar from that they use for their coffee on the cornflakes.
So
until eventually my grandma started buying Frosted
I was
Flakes.
say,
yeah,
they've done the work for you at the Kellogg factory.
No, it's weird how it's been 3 or 4 years since I've had a bowl of cereal. Basically, I don't buy milk anymore because what do I use it for? It just goes bad.
See,
and cereal's super fucking expensive too.
Cereal can
and
be
it's not
expensive.
healthy. And I'm trying to eat healthier.
Well, it depends. Some of it can be pretty
No,
healthy.
I mean the good stuff, the good cereal.
I mean, Cookie Crisp is not healthy.
I did.
That.
I did like quote unquote healthy food. I'm sure it's not healthy. I'm sure it's like fucking corn syrup. But like Basic Four, I was a big fan of.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Some of that stuff tastes like just eating styrofoam or whatever.
Like puffed rice. I like puffed rice.
Is okay, but I buy almond milk. We're talking about this is the milk cast.
This is
part
Milkcast.
of the section. I love almond milk. I don't really drink regular milk too much.
I like it
anymore.
too. It's just so expensive.
Almond milk?
Yeah.
If you buy the big jug, it's like $4 or $5.
I've never seen it in more than like a quart-sized package.
All right, you got to go to the grocery store, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, down that organic aisle.
It's also a horrible. The almond industry is destroying California. So
No.
yeah. You know how many? You know it takes what is it, 1,000 gallons of water to make
one almond.
to make one almond.
Yep.
And that's true.
I love it.
No, I don't drink it because I've just. It's the healthier of the milks, but I just try to avoid milk in general because it's not healthy.
I mean,
it's not the healthiest.
Well, almond milk, there's no dairy or anything. It's not.
Yeah, I know.
Even regular
Still
milk is
fatty.
good for you. It's just it's good fat for the most part.
Yeah.
But anyway, the milk cast is over.
I take
That's
my calcium pill.
That's
I'm
the end of the
happy.
milk cast. It's the end of the calcium cast too. Sorry, you just missed the window. We're talking about calcium.
What does Wilson Fisk in Swedish mean in English? Wilson Fisk. It's thinking.
John Fish.
What's fresh?
What's fresh?
Oh, I see. There's no word Wilson Fisk in Swedish, so it had to. It was like trying to. It was trying to turn. It was trying to understand what I just said in Swedish, and the closest it came up with was "Vad som farsk,"
Vad som farsk was his original name,
which means what's fresh.
So Vad som farsk changed his name to Wilson,
which
Fisk
is funny
at Ellis
because
Island.
Kingpin's catchphrase was "What's fresh."
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Daredevil, what's fresh? I loved it. Season 1 was so good.
Oh, Daredevil.
Daredevil.
Yeah,
yeah.
The best parts were when he would just say "What's fresh," and the audience would go, "Yeah!" I also
classic Vincent D'Onofrio.
I liked when Foggy would come in through the doors of Murdoch and Nelson, Nelson and Murdoch, and the audience would go woo.
He's like, I can't see. It's foggy in here.
And then Karen Page would like make a joke about a small penis, and they would just go, uh-oh.
We should write Daredevil as a 90s, 80s sitcom.
Daredevil is a good show. I think it's a little overrated.
I have not watched any of season 2. I watched the first one.
But it's a good show. I think it would be a million times better if it had a live studio audience from the 90s.
Jack, if we had any sort of time or effort that we wanted to put into it, we should absolutely do a scene from Daredevil and put in that 90s track.
I kind of want to pause because I can make that happen very quickly, or at least I could have if I didn't just
get new GarageBand.
I just had a
you just had a computer upgrade, so.
Restore, not even an upgrade, just a lateral grade to keep it running for another year.
The old lateral grade. Well, maybe we'll do that if we do,
because that would be very easy. Basically, you just need the sound effects button and play Daredevil.
If only we had our Austin Powers sound effects thing open today.
So, Elektra, I'm here to stop you, Oprah.
Somewhere Dan Ozzie just smiled and he doesn't know why.
That's I want to get back to the
Actually, it makes sense. The Duncan Daredevil was the mascot of Dunkaroos. It should have been Matt Murdock Daredevil.
Matt Murdock should have been the spokesperson for Dunkaroos.
He should have been. Flavor's so good, you don't need to see it.
My radar sense is telling me that this rainbow icing is amazing.
What's fresh, Daredevil? Like the Kingpin is like the anti-Dunkaroo.
We are doing a Daredevil season 3 where Kingpin's phrase is "What's fresh."
Yep.
There's a live studio audience, and the entire thing is heavily sponsored by Dunkaroos.
It's nothing but Dunkaroo's product placement.
They no longer work at the Daily Bugle. They work at the factory next to the Sydney Opera House.
Yep.
There's a lot of cross cutting between Hell's Kitchen and downtown Sydney.
Absolutely.
The villain is like trying to poison the New York City supply of icing.
To turn people into kangaroos, which is the original problem they had.
We'll get the owl, except we'll make him the kangaroo.
Of course, the kanga owl. I love it. I think this is
There's something there.
Netflix,
Yeah.
get on us.
Let's put a hold on the Iron Fist series and let's just make this happen first.
I think Duncan Daredevil is where it's at. Season 3.
Oh no, I
We
want
will
to
work for free, Netflix.
And maybe there's a special Shrek edition.
Or maybe there wasn't.
It wasn't. I gotta take a screenshot of that. I didn't even see you make that change.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
You didn't
there.
give it a reference though.
Should I reference this
You
podcast?
I was gonna say you should put a footnote, a little number 3 that just says it says maybe there wasn't because you just said may have and
Yeah,
you
right.
left it open ended.
It's open ended. You never know.
No, I wanted to get back to like 10 minutes ago. You made a sound, a tone, a connotation of disgust towards there being originally they were cinnamon cookies. You didn't.
Yes. I'm not a big cinnamon guy. Period.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like apple pie. Oh, hello. It's the paparazzi here. It's us, Jack and Dan from 90s Percentile.
I was taking a screenshot for our website. I forgot the computer's plugged into the audio.
We're going to be on TMZ later. Harvey Levin, always trying to get into WEE Studios.
Who's Harvey Levin?
Is it his name? Maybe it's Harry Levin.
Oh, is that the TMZ,
He's the
guy? Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen clips of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, cinnamon's not your thing.
Cinnamon's not my thing, man.
I'm
more of a cardamom type guy.
But I think it's you would think, okay, you're making this Dunkaroo product, these cookies and cream,
Right.
What's the first flavor you go with? You would think
Cinnamon's
at first,
not my first
yeah,
choice.
At first you would think it isn't, but I actually can see the logic to it in that cinnamon's got a little bit of spice and hot to it, and the cool like soft base of the icing is a good pairing with it.
See, my first thought was. My first thought would be to do chocolate cookies with white icing because you're basically taking Oreos that kids love Oreos and you're deconstructing them and making it like a playtime type thing. And that's what they did. And I'm sure it was because of Oreos.
But I guess the idea is that cinnamon isn't as fun as a flavor for
the
kids.
Only cinnamon cookie I can think of was like Teddy Grahams had a cinnamon flavor.
Yes,
but they also had a chocolate flavor, and that's what we always had at my house.
Chocolate was the best, but my mom would get us the honey and the cinnamon to spice it up. No pun intended. Yeah,
there you go.
No, I think that's good to have variety. I'm really not against cinnamon at all. I'm kind of.
Jack, did you intend that pun? You said no pun intended, but I think you
No, I
intended
really
it.
did intend it. It was completely unintended. I like cinnamon gum. Here's what I'm not crazy about. I once stayed at my dad's place. And
Can I just pause for 1 second? I'm sorry. I just turned to our computer that we have open, and you Yahoo'd Google. You searched Google on Yahoo.
So as we mentioned a few minutes ago, I had to do a restore on my computer. Like I reset to factory settings.
Yeah.
So I've had to spend my entire.
This is the most old person thing to Google into Yahoo.
I got 1 day off a fucking week, and I had to spend my whole Saturday like rebuilding my computer and all the programs and stuff. Anyway, I re-downloaded my internet browser, and it's Google Chrome. And for whatever reason, Yahoo is the default search engine.
Yeah,
and
it seems confusing.
And I can see why they're going out of business. The search engine is unusable. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So rather than it's hard to multitask and do this podcast live.
Yeah.
So it's hard to. Download Google and make that my primary browser. So it was just
while we're recording a podcast.
Yeah, so it's just easier to just Yahoo.
Google.
It was just easier to Yahoo Google, so I could Google the Dunkaroos commercial.
It's funny you said Yahoo is losing money and going down. And a big part of that was Community, because their Yahoo screen
It wasn't a part of it.
They paid a lot of money for the right to Community.
Yeah, but but it didn't put them out. It just didn't save them.
I'll tell you this. I watched the first episode and I liked it. I loved Community.
I thought their season 6 was great.
I didn't watch any of the rest of it because I'm never thinking I got to put on Yahoo screen and watch Community.
I don't know. I thought their Yahoo season was their best since like season 2 or 3.
I wasn't a big fan of season 5, but anyway, we're not talking about
Oh, no,
Community.
I loved 5 too. I loved all of them.
We are talking Dunkaroos. You want to hear John
No,
Cameron
wait,
Mitchell?
I wanted
in the
to go back
commercial?
to the cinnamon. I want to go back to
okay.
cinnamon. No, I stayed at my dad's and he had cinnamon toothpaste, and
That sounds
I didn't
terrible.
like because it didn't make my mouth feel
No.
fresh and clean.
Hey, let me put burning in my mouth.
But cinnamon is a big gum flavor, so I could see why toothpaste makes sense.
Ironically, I like Big Red.
Yeah.
And I like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
But
I contain multitudes, Jack. I'm confusing.
But I guess I like Big Red and cinnamon gum or Cinnaburst
Yeah.
when I want some like
Cinnaburst is
when
not
I want
around anymore, I don't think.
I don't think so. But when I had an oral fixation and I wanted something like a snack almost, whereas if I'm trying to make my breath better, cinnamon's not what you would want to go
No,
to.
you want a minty fresh.
Dunkaroos should make gum.
Dunkaroos gum.
Dunkaroos
Interesting.
gum.
You dunk
you-
it in icing
or
and then you eat it.
mouthwash. Just
Dunkaroos mouthwash.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
you want a cracker, but you also don't want cracker breath.
Yeah.
So you
So
just
there you
dunk
go.
it in some mouthwash.
It's like those what do you call it? Listerine like breath strips. That
Exactly,
You put on your tongue
exactly.
that dissolves. You get a Dunkaroo cookie that dissolves, and you
But
put
where's
it on
the-
some
what are you
icing.
dunking, though? What are you
You're
dun-
dunking in icing? You're still eating icing.
What
That's
if
all
you just
you want.
What if you just dunk your tongue into a pool of mouthwash like icing?
I'm so on
Like
board.
like Listerine,
Listerine
but
flavored
in like
icing.
in a solid gelatinous.
Yeah.
You know.
I think we're on a $1 million
Why
idea
are we
here,
wasting
Jack.
our time doing pop
All right,
culture
we're done.
podcasts?
This is the end of the
There
podcast.
is a
We're
$1
gonna
billion
go,
dunk breath industry.
Yeah, Dunkin' breath.
We can get
No
what's his
relation.
face from Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
David Cameron Mitchell.
He can
Look
be
at
our
him.
spokesperson.
Yeah. He can be Duncan, the Duncan Daredevil, a.k.a. Matt Murdock.
So
Dunkaroos
here's
is the
what you were
cookie
asking
you drunk
for.
for as much frosting as you want. So how do you do your Dunkaroos?
Super duper deep dunk.
Why is that woman that girl dressed as a 40-year-old woman?
Yeah, that's really weird.
Long distance dainty
Oh, I
dunk.
forgot about this. The
You
different
can
kinds of
dunk a
dunks.
Dunkaroo in as much chocolate or vanilla frosting as you want.
That doesn't even sound like John Cameron Mitchell.
So, how do you do your Dunkaroos?
Sounds New
There
Zealand.
we've mixed yummy chips of chocolate in a creamy vanilla frosting. New chocolate chip Dunkaroos. Hip hip for chocolate chip.
I really
Yeah.
want to eat Dunkaroos now.
Yeah, child actors are fucking
was
weird.
That was 1994's Betty Crocker Dunkaroos commercial number 1. if you
Wow,
wanna
that
see it
was
on
the
YouTube.
first. You know,
And
I actually
as you
do
mentioned,
kind
there
of.
was a little girl dressed like a 45-year-old woman, which was very, very strange.
I also kind of remember this guilt. Not just with Dunkaroos, but I'll use Dunkaroos as the example, but also with like Oreos and stuff, where if I wasn't eating them the fun way, I was kind of letting.
Right, you're kind of wasting your
Yeah,
life.
I was kind of wasting the opportunity. Like if I just
Yeah.
ate an Oreo without unscrewing the top,
Right.
or if I did a Dunkaroo without doing like a fancy
crazy
dunk,
dunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if I just had a third example on the top. Oh, Reese's, like
Right.
Reese's Pieces. If I just like took a bite out of it,
That's another thing I don't like is Reese's Pieces. But that's,
Gee, what the
I
hell's
don't,
what's
I don't
going
like
on?
peanut butter.
What?
I'm an avowed peanut butter hater.
What about almond butter? You like almond milk?
Almond butter is good.
super
but
expensive.
A, it's expensive, and B, it's just it's kind of the same problem I have with peanut butter. Is it's so like grainy and ugh.
You don't like the texture?
Like apples and almond butter is like a thing.
I mean, most
It's a healthy
people
snack.
don't know when we do our live shows. I just
Yeah.
put peanut butter on the roof of your mouth, and it just makes it look like you're actually co-hosting
Yeah,
the podcast
that's
with
right.
me.
You're really a very talented ventriloquist. Also, we've never done a live show, but we will. Maybe tease. I don't know.
Well, according to Wikipedia, we may have done some live shows.
how come we don't have a Wikipedia page?
I
We should.
I don't want to create it. I
I
feel like
think that's
yeah,
exactly
I
where
feel
I'm
like
at.
that's. I feel like if somebody goes out of their way to make us one,
Yeah.
then we've earned it.
I think
I don't
you're right.
want to get one until we've earned it.
It's sad to make your own Wikipedia page. It's funny to deface the Dunkaroos Wikipedia page or the Extreme Sports Wikipedia
Not
page.
defacing. We're adding facts. We're
Well-
enhancing it.
We defaced the Extreme Sports one months and months ago, but this you're right. We enhanced a fact because maybe there wasn't a Shrek special edition. You don't know.
We don't know that you left in that may have.
You don't know, and that is the core of Wikipedia, not knowing.
All right, so you don't like cinnamon. I'm
like
guessing you
cinnamon.
like the vanilla icing with chocolate cookies. It
Yeah,
seems like
baby.
a classic pair. What do you think about the graham crackers? See, now
on
that
board.
I actually think is weird because I love graham crackers. I love s'mores, but icing with graham crackers is not.
I disagree. They sell those. I can't think of what they're called, but it's
Oh,
like
it's
an
chocolate
iced
icing.
graham cracker.
I'm sorry, it's chocolate icing.
Chocolate icing with graham.
Okay, that works.
It actually doesn't even say graham crackers. It says
Graham cookies. Yeah, because they're not crackers. There is graham
Well, but
crackers are
graham-
like the flat,
Right.
crispier,
But would you call it a
crackier.
graham cookie?
I
I
guess.
would still call it graham crackers.
Like Teddy Grahams aren't crackers; they're cookies.
That's true, but they're Teddies.
No, they're cookies.
All right.
Crackers are more like matzah.
Right, more they're like a
flaky flatbread. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cookies are that they're clearly
are
not bread.
that. All right, I don't know.
Chocolate makes sense. They should have done a s'more Dunkaroo. Chocolate, graham, and marshmallow.
That seems like a layup.
S'more Pop-Tarts are in my top 3 kind of
S'more
Pop-Tart
Pop-Tarts
flavors.
are delicious.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you there.
You know what I can't do ever?
Okay.
Eat Pop-Tarts cold. I don't get that.
Really?
I just don't get it.
I eat the s'more Pop-Tarts cold. I
No.
said it.
No,
I said it.
I can't
It's
do
delicious.
it. I just can't do it.
It's real good. It tastes like a Dunkaroo.
I have to heat them up. Like, look, if I'm on a desert island and I'm starving to death,
Yeah.
and there's a vending machine full of cold Pop-Tarts,
Yeah.
fine. I'll try to leave it out in the sun on like a rock.
Right, get a little warm.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. S'more Pop-Tarts, I agree, are delicious. Every other Pop-Tart,
Oh,
I'm not on board.
I love
Classic strawberry, not for me.
strawberry. I don't like. I love the cherry with icing.
Okay, yeah, the
And I
fruit
love-
ones don't work for me.
The cherry, I loved. I always had a problem with the strawberry. I remember my mom bought a multi-berry one once that was disgusting. But the
Pop-Tarts were another thing that my mom did not buy.
basically
This was
the only 3 flavors we would ever cycle through were cherry, chocolate, cherry s'more, and chocolate were really good. But we usually
chocolate
didn't
I'm
get
on
the
board.
Pop-Tarts. We usually got like the ShopRite brand X.
Right.
And I remember their chocolate ones were really good.
Yeah.
There was never what?
I did like toaster strudels. Did you know those?
We did those from time to time.
That was like you heated it up, and there was a little gross packet of semen-looking icing that you'd have to squeeze out
All
yourself.
icing looks like semen.
It's true.
No, it was flakier.
Especially
it was,
the Dunkaroos
it was supposed
icing.
to be a classy
That
Pop-Tarts.
picture looks like a cookie floating in some semen with some sprinkles. If you go on Wikipedia,
Wait,
and
your,
look,
your semen doesn't have little rainbow specks in it?
it depends on what I've eaten that day. If I had Dunkaroos, then yes, it does.
Yeah, people don't know that the Dunkaroo icing goes straight to your vas deferens.
Absolutely, and it flavors your semen. So, ladies,
Ladies.
buy your husbands and boyfriends and well-wishers Dunkaroos.
I wish you well. Here's some Dunkaroos. I'm going to blow you.
And that's what you say.
Oh, man, I was just going to
Happy
ask you something.
Valentine's
Oh, no. Is there any Dunkaroo equivalent? Like, did they patent the idea of cookies in cream? Like dipping cookies in
I don't think
cream?
you could patent that idea. There had to be knockoffs.
Because they were
I'm
very.
sure there
all
were
right, look,
brand X
somebody
Dunkaroos.
suggested this topic.
Yeah,
We're
Brian
talking
Musk.
40 minutes about it.
Yes, we are.
So clearly it was popular.
It captured the zeitgeist,
Right.
Jack.
So why weren't there a bunch of like knockoffs?
I think there were.
I don't
but this-
remember
I
any.
think this probably had the best branding. And you know what? Now I'm looking at this Wikipedia page that says that the Dunkaroo's kangaroo was voiced by John Cameron Mitchell. There's no citation for that. Did someone deface this and just say it was the guy from
now
Hedwig and the Angry
we look
Inch?
like idiots
We look
now.
like idiots.
We've been
That's why
had.
that's why I had to say something, just in case some punster is in there putting in Broadway actors where they don't belong.
should we do Wikipedia a service and add a line after was voiced by John Cameron Mitchell, or maybe he wasn't?
I think we should, Jack.
Here's
Give
the
me
keyboard.
Give me that keyboard.
And if you want to check this out, just Yahoo Google, and then in the Google taskbar, search Wikipedia.
Search Wikipedia and then search
Dunkaroos. You know what? What's the deal with like kangaroos in Australia being a good market? You're right; it was very well marketed, but like underoos, like what does underwear have to do with
That's
kangaroos?
a very good question that I don't know the
but
answer to.
underoos was earlier than the 90s, right?
Underoos were the 80s for sure.
Because I'm saying maybe there seems to be this aroos
Yeah.
period of advertising.
I mean, let's think about this for a second. So, obviously, kangaroo is the Australian
Is where the
connection,
aroo comes from,
right?
yeah.
That's the only word that uses aroo. So, how did underoos...
Well, there's also Rue from Hunger Games that a lot of people got mad because she was black in
That's
the movie.
true. A lot of people are racist.
They sure are.
But underoos, why was underoos called underoos? We're trying to get an answer for you people. Not Underwood. Carrie Underwood. That's why. It's because of Carrie
No,
Underwood.
it's not coming up.
think
The
it's-
first thought in my head,
I think it's Underoos. Try that.
UNDER.
Get rid of
One
two
extra
Rs,
R.
yeah.
Okay. No, I'm thinking the first thought that comes to mind is that like they're for toddlers, they're for like smaller kids, and they're
are.
kind of like the Joeys that hang out in the pouch. So if you're the
Right.
mama kangaroo who does most of the shopping and watches
Right.
the daytime commercials,
Yeah.
you're going, oh, that's my little baby, that's my Joey,
my
that's
little
my
Joey.
that's my Roo.
Right, and you're using Joey as far as the baby kangaroo is called a
Yeah.
Joey,
Yeah.
not Joey Gladstone.
Oh, I was going to say not Joey Tribbiani.
Not Joey Tribbiani or Joey Gladstone or any other Joey from an 80s or 90s sitcom.
There they are. Oh,
let's
they
see.
look much older than the 80s. 77.
Okay, there you go. So beyond the scope of this podcast, but why were they called underoos?
And they
We're
were
trying to get an
and
answer for you
I
guys.
remember Spider-Man underoos, and even in the new Civil War trailer, Tony Stark calls
them
Spider-Man
underoos.
underoos.
Yeah.
I always remember them as. Apparently, it was mostly DC, but it was.
It was heavily.
It was superhero.
cartoons and superheroes. Yeah, I don't. But there's nothing on this Wikipedia page that says why it was called underoos. Like, where did the roo come from?
I don't
Listeners, write in. We want to know. We have a Reddit. It's r/worst episode ever, which is the title of our other podcast, where you can talk about this show. If you know why it's called Dunkaroos, come right in and you could win a prize.
I feel like, well, first of all, I feel like there should be some kind of oral history that published
I
of,
want
of
the
the
oral
of
history of the
Underoos.
Underoos.
Fruit of the Loom owns them, or maybe even created. I don't feel like reading this whole thing live on air.
Yeah.
But Fruit of the Loom does own them now, and they're
making
currently making
adults.
them for adult sizes.
Adult Underoos.
So is that like
Well, there's a lot
nostalgia?
of- look, Jack, there's a lot of man children out there who are stuck in another decade, like the 90s, and they just don't want to grow up, and they're still talking about superheroes and stuff, and they want to wear Underoos.
Do you think if you grew up, you're a little bit older than we are,
Mm-hmm.
you grew up with Underoos as a baby, as a kid. If you were to wear a pair of Underoos now, I'm guessing they're probably they might actually still have Marvel comics, but they're like more adult
sure.
art looking. They're not as like dated as those.
Like you can
Do
get
you-
Underoos with like Bane breaking Batman's back on your butt.
It just says
I would absolutely wear those.
It just says
I must break you.
You merely adopted underwear. I was born with
there.
it. Do you think that's any less or more immature than if we were to go right now and go to the bodega across the street and buy some individual packs of Dunkaroos?
I think
Do you think a
it's-
grown man eating Dunkaroos says something less about him?
I personally think you can do whatever you want if you're not hurting other people. So you should do whatever you want. You want to wear Underoos? Wear Underoos. You want to eat Dunkaroos? Wear Dunkaroos. You want
This-
to do something that doesn't rhyme
I
with
agree.
that? Do it.
I agree.
Underoos, at least you're not doing it in public, unless you are, which you can do that too.
I was eating Lunchables, and I'm sure this will be a topic at some in
sure it will.
our random topic.
I'm
But
sure it
I
will.
was eating Lunchables as lunch at up until like my mid to late 20s. Like when I was still going out to the store to buy something.
Right.
If it was there, it was
get
like, oh, that
Lunchables.
solves my problem.
Going full circle, I think there actually are adult Lunchables that are
With
kind of
Dunk-
like high end
Oh.
with Dunkaroos. Yep.
Yeah,
maybe.
weren't there?
Maybe there were. I
Weren't
don't
there that
remember
like came with Dunkaroos as like the snack?
My mom never really bought Lunchables either, but I
Jeez.
remember Lunchables.
Lived in like a goddamn.
Tyrant. All I
Yeah.
ate was a piece of lettuce every day.
It's like you lived in like Cuba.
That's right. Castro took away our Underoos and our Dunkaroos.
He
It
was
it terrible.
anti-capitalism, anti-Australia.
That's right. All right,
Wait,
Jack.
I just want to real quick Yahoo Google Dunkaroos Lunchables and see if there's some kind of. I put Dunakaroos. That's the Eskimo equivalent.
You had Dunakroom for a while until you just corrected it.
This keyboard is
I know.
terrible to type with.
Dunkaroom, we've searched now.
The Dunkaroom is where you go to.
That's where you
Wow.
go to eat your Dunkaroos.
If we open up a
Holy
bar,
shit.
like a vape bar called
Dunkaroom.
Dunkaroom,
Yeah.
where it's you just go to get different
Why
kinds
does it
of
have to be a
Dunkaroos.
vape bar?
Well, like a themed place
it's
where
like a vape,
that
okay.
it's built around this
We're
leisure
not
activity.
actually selling vape,
No,
but we're
no.
selling Dunkaroos,
Right.
and it's called the Dunkaroom. I'm
Yeah.
on board. This is
Yeah.
$1 million idea.
I like it.
Guys.
And like we'd be like the Candyman from Willy Wonka. Like the
Yep.
kids would come out of school and we'd be singing the
And we'd-
Dunkaroo can.
And we'd have all these. We'd have crazy flavors that they didn't actually have, like Shrek.
we may have
We
Shrek
may
flavors.
have Shrek.
We may have Shrek flavors.
Come to the Dunkaroom, opening soon
All right.
in a world near you.
Lunch.
Lunch. Jack just typed lunch of booze.
It's really hard to multitask.
I know, I can tell.
All right, Dunkaroo
Oh, boy.
Lunchables.
So let's see if there were Dunkaroo Lunchables. We're on the official Lunchables website. I don't know what this is.
Okay, I feel like this was going to take more research than we really have time to do.
Yeah,
and
I think
Yahoo
so.
is fucking unusable.
Yahoo is a terrible search engine.
Yeah. All right. Anyway,
Whatever. We'll wait because I'm positive someone has suggested Lunchables.
I feel like
and
I've
they will
seen this kid
suggest it.
before in things.
That's Arthur from the television series Arthur. He's an aardvark.
No, this guy right here.
Yeah,
this
I don't
Lunchables commercial from 1993.
All right,
There's
maybe.
there's a little black child actor. I'm pretty sure I've seen in sitcoms and stuff.
been. It could
All
have
right.
been.
So real quick, oops. You said there's a fancy Lunchables.
I think I remember seeing a fancy Lunchables at some
All right,
point in my
so
life.
let's find out.
like high-end Lunchables for grown-ups.
So let's find
Not
out.
called Lunchables. It was probably called something in French.
Well, let's find out what
All right.
Lunchables is in French Canadian.
Let's do it.
Lunchables.
Déjeuner de bol.
Déjeuner de bowl, but
the bowl's lunch.
In fairness, it's bowl of lunch.
A bowl of lunch, even
Yeah,
better.
it's bowl of lunch.
I could go for a lunch
Oh,
bowl.
you know
That
what?
sounds pretty
Okay,
good.
so Lunchables is clearly not a word, but here,
It's not.
lunch able.
We solved it.
No, it said lunch table. It doesn't understand my
right.
English.
Lunch table.
All right, we've got a few minutes. Why
I
don't
think it's time for another topic. How much time do we have on the clock,
we've
Jack?
got 17 minutes. Oh, we got
That's
more than I thought.
plenty
17
of
minutes
time, my
and
friend.
3 seconds.
All right, so here we go. Going back to the random topic generator, we did a lot with Lunchables and Dunkaroos. Lunchables was not the topic.
We only talked about it for the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's tough to multitask, Jack, as you should well
really
know.
is.
As you should well know. All right, so we are done with our Dunkaroos, and here we go. Our next topic is going to be... It's loading. It's still loading.
You want me to translate some more things into French?
Nope, I got it. Okay, it is The Rise of Ska Music. And that comes
boy.
from Joey Jojo Jr. No Shabadoo.
No
but
Shabadoo.
Just Joey Jojo Jr. Okay, so we're talking ska music.
Oh, man.
Jack, did you like ska music back in the day? I think you liked some ska music.
I liked, no doubt, I liked Real Big
yeah,
Fish.
no doubt you liked it.
But that would be about it.
Well, no-
There was a ska band, a local Staten Island ska band.
Yes, called Melmac.
Named after
I-
the planet from Elf.
I have their one single is still in my music collection. She faked it every time. I actually like that song.
It was fun when I was a teenager to go to a show. It was a fun music to listen to live. It's not really my thing.
Well, ska is
And like, no doubt, isn't really ska.
they had like one ska album, and they quickly, once they were successful, they transitioned away from that.
Yeah.
Especially Gwen Stefani. But people who don't know, ska is with a lot of horns. Like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones are probably the most famous ska band.
I wish we had Tom
Big
on the
Fish,
show.
for sure.
Tom was a previous guest.
Previous guest, Tom?
Back in high school, he used to get so upset that Mighty Mighty Boss Tones had a guy in the band whose job
Yes.
was simply to dance on
just
stage.
danced, yeah.
It offended him so much.
Well, he had like a credit on the albums as like dancer or something.
so
Like,
stupid.
is he in studio while they're singing the songs, dancing?
know.
Write in if you know, or if you
Or
are
if
that
you are
guy.
him, yeah.
Write in. But ska, yeah, I think it was very heavily influenced by reggae. I know that because we're looking at the ska Wikipedia page now, and it says that. And I don't like reggae personally.
I like reggae. I
But
can't.
I like
I don't
some
really.
ska.
I can't. I'm trying to picture the two sounds. I don't really see a line from A to B.
Because ska,
Reggae
like,
doesn't use a lot of horns.
Who was the big ska band?
I get that. No doubt.
Oh my god.
Plays with all.
Was it the Specials, right?
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
were like one of the first ska
Ghost
bands.
Town?
I don't know that one.
Living in a ghost town.
that sounds familiar. That's
from
something.
Snatch and Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. So they were one of the first ones in the 70s and 80s. And ska has a lot of horns and things. And the traditional way to dance to ska music, I believe, is called skanking, right?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't remember this? You don't remember? You used to skank it up on the dance floor,
Oh, I
buddy.
do. I do vaguely remember.
You're like, it's a lot of like kicking and like grabbing at the floor. It looks terrible, and especially if I'm trying to do it
Did
while
I
I'm sitting down
joke?
podcasting.
Did I joke skank?
Probably. You were a big joke skank back in high
I
school,
do
Jack.
vaguely remember, but I don't dance. I don't know how to dance, and I don't know how to skank. But I kind of remember doing it.
Right. If you are a wrestling fan and you know Sami Zayn, he's a wrestler in the WWE, he comes out to ska type music and he kind of like skanks down to the
That's
ring.
adorable.
He's he's fantastic. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. But this is not my WWE podcast. This is the WEE podcast.com.
All right, here's something.
Yeah.
So we don't know what the origin of the word ska is. There's multiple theories, which means
Really?
Wikipedia is open to all other theories.
All right. It's always good when Wikipedia keeps an open mind.
Yeah.
I love
Because
it.
I don't want to put any misinformation out there.
No, definitely
Because
not.
I actually think Wikipedia is an amazing project. I think people should donate money to it.
I never
I
have,
think it
but
gets
people should.
It gets more flack than it deserves for not being a credible source.
Well, I think most of that has gone away now, right? Like, that was when Wikipedia first came out.
Maybe.
In, like, 2005, I loved Wikipedia when it first came out. I was like, holy shit, like, you could look up anything, and
I've
it's
probably
amazing.
said this on one of our shows before, but I discovered Wikipedia about 11 years ago when I was trying to find online a definitive Star Wars expanded universe timeline.
Wikipedia has it,
and I
I'm
found
sure.
it, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And I read this was when I was like not sleeping,
Yeah.
and I read from like 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. the entire like history of Star
If
Wars.
Wikipedia is good for anything, it is for super
Yeah.
detailed Star Wars.
That was before Wikipedia.
Or like Power Rangers things, like very, very detailed Wikipedia
Yeah.
entries. But what I love most about Wikipedia is it is the real life Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's what Wikipedia is.
Oh
You've never read Hitchhiker's Guide?
no!
Oh my goodness.
I know. I was thinking of maybe downloading the audiobook.
I have listened to the audio.
I have a nice hardcover. I bought my girlfriend. She's a big fan.
Yeah.
But I just haven't had time to
you
read
should-
it.
you
I've
should
seen the
really read
movie.
The movie's not great. The movie gets a lot of flack, but that it should not. But anyway, that's not our topic. We're talking about ska.
Yeah, anyway, there's multiple theories about the word ska. One person seems to think it comes from musicians going scat, 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 scratching guitar strum.
Apparently, it's possibly double bassist Cluett Johnson he would say skavoovie to his friends to say hello to them. So I think we should open every episode with a big skavoovie.
I think as great as that's fresh.
Yeah.
I feel like Kingpin's new catchphrase should be
That's Bullseye's catchphrase, I think.
whenever he actually lands a target.
Yep, he says skavoovie.
Are you listening, Frank Miller?
You better. Frank Miller is running the Daredevil Netflix series.
I want Frank Miller to do a new comic where I want him to redo his comic where Bullseye kills Elektra.
Right.
And
Spoiler alert.
And when the sai goes through her back,
He just whispers skavoovie. I think that'd be amazing.
is that asking too much?
No, it's not at all.
If he's not too busy like making his like racist anti-Muslim comics.
Well, by the way, Frank Miller is now doing Dark Knight 3. Did you know this? That there's a
I
Dark
did
Knight
hear
3?
about that.
It's
Dark
called
Knight-
The Master Race, which,
Uh-oh.
You know that's going to be
Yeah.
something. I haven't read anything of it. I don't even know the reviews.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, maybe that'll come up. Dark Knight, right? Or Dark Knight 2
was not
in the
great.
90s. I didn't actually read it.
I wasn't in the 90s, those post 9/11.
No, I think you're thinking of Holy Terror, which was the
No,
anti-Muslim
yeah.
thing.
No, I know
you're-
that, but
yeah.
I'm not saying post 9/11 in that it was directly referencing 9/11. I just feel like I thought it was early.
DK2 was it? I thought it was the 90s.
Well, we have Wikipedia
All right,
here.
well, let's find that out while we're
While we talk about ska.
While we talk about ska. What are some other ska bands? You said Real Big Fish. I was
Yeah.
into Real Big Fish for a little while. And that while has passed. I think it's true for everyone.
There's still a cover of Gigantic by the Pixies I really like.
Yeah. Well, it's not Dark Knight Returns. It's DK2 is what it was called.
I thought it was Dark Knight. Oh, Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight
too.
Returns is the good one.
original, yeah.
Wikipedia is failing us. Just go
Yeah.
to the Dark Knight Returns Wikipedia page,
look
and then
up
I'm sure it'll say
sequels.
sequels. Yeah.
I mean, even Dark Knight, like I get why it was so influential, but and I love
Dark Knight Returns-
I like a lot about Batman's characterization,
Yeah.
but even that's got a lot of fucking fascism and stuff in it.
Yes, Frank Miller is a divisive guy. Let's say that. Let's be genteel about it.
Man, where is it? I don't see anything about sequels.
It's probably up at the top, maybe like the quick facts like sidebar. Wait, go up because I just saw the third one referenced.
Frank Miller did do RoboCop 2 and 3, which I just watched RoboCop 3 last night or finished it.
He certainly did, and RoboCop 3 is not great.
You know what?
Was it better?
I was watching it, and
Yeah.
it's not great, but the you know how we believe, I don't know if our audience knows, RoboCop 2 is a flawed movie, nowhere near as the perfection of RoboCop 1, but it
Right.
still has
Still
a lot
pretty
of
good movie.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so I would say the dip in quality from 1 to 2
Yeah.
is roughly the same from
As
2
dip
to
to
3.
3.
It's
I
like
think-
if Michael Keaton was RoboCop,
Yeah.
in Multiplicity,
Yeah.
RoboCop 3 is like the clone of the clone.
Right. The one that couldn't think so
She
good.
touched my Pepe, Doug.
that's the one.
Yeah, no, like that would be, but it's still, even though it's a clone of a clone, it's still
Yeah.
a clone of a clone of a really good
On something
movie.
good, right. About Michael Keaton.
Like there's some scenes that are well acted, and there's some scenes that are well directed.
Even bad Michael Keaton is still pretty good. Plus, you also lost Peter Weller in RoboCop 3. It was
Yeah.
what's his face, whose name I can never
the
remember.
guy from Thinner and Rescue Me.
Rescue Me.
I don't know, blanking.
He's got he's a 3-name person. It's David Cameron Mitchell. Let's just say
It's
that.
actually similar to David Cameron Mitchell. I feel like his name.
Now I want to look that up.
All right, but I'm
we're
still trying to find-
this, when the Dark Knight 2 came out.
Man, why is this so hard?
I don't know why this is so hard.
Hey Siri, when did Dark Knight Returns Part 2 come out?
Can you have her answer in Swedish? What's fresh?
Oh, God. You know what it's getting confused with, and so is Google?
Yeah.
The Part 2 of the animated movie.
Yeah, that's throwing us
Which
off.
is
Hang
Part
on.
1, Part 2 of the
got it.
two-part version of Part 1.
Strikes Again is what it was
Strikes
called.
Again. Yeah, that's what it's called.
You're right.
I
it was
own it.
2001, December 2001 to July 2012. Or
Yeah, that's
2012.
what. So when I said post
was
9/11, I didn't mean not like the politics. I meant it was literally
came out
right after
9/11.
9/11.
I thought it came out right before. I thought it was like 99. So there you go.
I know a little bit about comics and wrestling, Dan.
I'm a big dummy. I don't know nothing about nobody.
I'm the comic and the wrestling expert,
Yeah,
and I'm
clearly.
also a lawyer.
And I am the expert on...
Wait to see where you go with it. Waiting to see where you go with it.
I'm the expert on not using Wikipedia correctly.
What was the other?
Googling Yahoo.
What did we want to look up? Oh, who played RoboCop 3?
Oh, yeah.
Even the sci-fi series, I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was like
Prime Directives?
Prime Directives. Even that wasn't terrible.
I never watched it, but it did look kind of good.
And hell, even the remake, which was
Robert
not
John Burke.
Robert John Burke.
That's it.
Even the remake was not great.
Yeah.
But it still had things. It's like it's almost impossible to do
We saw the
horrible
remake
RoboCop.
together.
Oh yeah,
the
we
biggest
did.
problem with the remake was it's not rated R, so there was they toned down the violence, but also it was just not good.
Yeah, the science didn't
really
make
hated
sense.
it.
It's they basically give him. They upload the computer to him, and now he
Right.
can facially scan. It's like, oh my god, there's a criminal right there. It's like
Yeah.
you could do that with a camera. You
Yeah,
could just
you don't need to be half
if you
robot.
if you have that kind of crazy criminal software, you
Right.
don't need. I guess maybe you need a human brain to make all those connections.
Well, that was kind of why I didn't like it. It was the original RoboCop is a robot remembering he's a man,
Right,
and
right.
this one was like a man who's a robot and tries to be
He's just a
both,
guy in a
and it's
suit.
just- it was not at all the same dramatic weight. So that's ska music.
Let's see.
I don't have that much to say about ska. It was it had its time. It was very popular in the late
Why,
90s.
why do you think it was popular in the 90s?
I have absolutely no idea.
The best when we get things like this, like the rise of ska or the rise
well,
of
it's
alt
tough to
music,
say, like, why did this take off?
because nothing exists in a vacuum. Everything is
Right.
coming from whatever came before. It's all evolution.
Do you think it was just because the 90s were a time of irrational exuberance? Is that what Alan Greenspan called it? I don't know. Maybe I'm mixing up my things. But basically, the 90s were a good time.
No, I don't think.
It was before 9/11, and things kind of went to shit.
I mean, things were maybe there is something to that in that we were.
I'm just saying
it was
ska
the-
is a happy
right. It
music
was the booming
for a
Clinton
happy
years,
time, yeah.
so maybe things. I was thinking more it had nothing to do with the time period, and it's basically what did it evolve from, which you were saying specials in the 80s and stuff.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones were around for a while, and then they hit it huge with The Impression That I Get, which is a great song. That's probably the most famous ska song, or maybe No Doubt stuff.
Yeah, but none of No Doubt ska music is really. I guess it's just
Well,
a
like,
girl ska. No.
No, but maybe like Spiderwebs is a little ska-ish.
Yeah, it's got the horns. It's got the.
By the way, Glenn, you should be home. Why are you out walking into Spiderwebs?
Tragic
What the
Kingdom
hell
is
does
one
that
of the
mean?
greatest albums of all time in terms of how almost every song on it is great. There's some clunkers.
I
but
was never the biggest No Doubt person, but I don't dislike No Doubt.
was madly. I got into them after they had already peaked. Like I got into them. I guess Tragic. I guess there was a big.
Tragic King was what, 96?
95, 96, yeah. I got into them in high school, so it was like right before Return of. It might have actually been because of Return of Saturn. I
That
got
was
into them.
2000, I want to say.
I remember it might have actually. You know what? Now I think about it, it was the Ex-Girlfriend music video that got me into them.
Right.
And actually, was this where was this the podcast where I? No, never mind. I was saying was this the podcast where I mentioned my Batman spec script, or was that the one we recorded?
That was just that was Thursday's episode of Worst Episode Ever, coming soon.
Okay, all right. So never mind.
Yeah.
But anyway, that song inspired me to write a direct sequel to Batman Returns, where Catwoman was Batman's ex-girlfriend, and it was a fight scene to that song.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Anyway, I was madly in love with Gwen Stefani. Like she's 9 years older than me, I think, maybe a little
Is she
older.
that young?
Yeah. So
I mean, you're an old man.
So
but-
I remember at the time she
Actually, I guess it
she
makes
was like
sense.
30, 31, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I still have time to get famous enough where I can meet her like at the MTV Music
make
Awards,
something happen.
and we would get married. And like,
Yeah,
I,
right,
and I
right.
was literally thinking as like a 17-year-old, like, all right, if we marry at this point, okay, she's still young enough to have my babies.
Yeah.
And then when
Well, Jack-
she married Bush, and I was just like,
Can you compete with Blake Shelton? I don't think so.
oh, they're together now
They're
too.
together.
Well,
Yeah, they
wasn't he
are.
married to like some
he
country
was
singer?
married to Miranda something or other.
Did she break them up?
I don't think so.
Okay,
But this is not TMZ.
it should
Go
be.
to TMZ to find. All right, it should be. It's TMZ now. Hey, we're gonna take pictures of your privates when you get out of the car.
Man, this is all technical stuff. Look, this
Yeah,
is why
there's a lot of,
Wikipedia
like-
is great, though.
If you are really interested in the rise of ska music, just Google.
Oh wait, here we
Google
go.
Yahoo
Here we
ska.
go. We got 3 minutes left. Australian ska is
All
a
right, yeah.
All right. Oh, the specials are Australian. They're not even British. Oh no, they are UK.
Right.
Okay.
The specials, the beat,
The
and
Jumpers.
Madness.
The Jumpers are from
Was
Adelaide.
Madness a ska band? I like Madness. Like
I don't know.
our house
In the middle of our street.
That's a terrible place for house guys. Is it part of ska music just coming up with terrible
Like
choruses?
when a car comes, does everybody have to go car, and they all lift up the house and move it
Yeah, I think so. Car house
in the middle of our street?
I think that's what
No,
it is.
not Madness. I think that's different from Madness.
No, well, I thought Madness was up at the top.
But no, they're British.
Two-tone bands such as the Specials, the Beat, and Madness were UK ska innovators.
Two tone is a type of music?
I guess so. We're not music people.
Really not. And this is why this is the big flaw in our random topic when we can't really pair up the topics.
Of
And I
course,
guess
we just had famous music writer Dan Ozzie on talking about pornography.
yeah, that's a good point, man.
Yeah, we'll bring him back.
Sounds Like Chicken is the name of
I
a
love it.
ska band from
Apparently, the
from
Vaginals
Australia.
is another one.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
So is Loingroin. Hey,
Loingroin's
Australian
a solid name.
Australian listeners, what's with the genital stuff?
Dunkaroos would be a good name for a ska
Dunkaroos
band,
would be
right?
amazing. All right,
Yeah.
what do we got left?
The Dunkaroos.
What do we got left here?
We got some time.
We got 2 minutes.
on the clock.
Let's write the hit single
All right.
from the Dunkaroos post
It's all
ska
how you
revival.
dip it.
It's all how you dip it.
All right.
I'll do the horns.
I got that. All right.
I wish I
Okay.
had GarageBand working. I could open up my MIDI keyboard.
All right. Look, give me the horns. Let's do it.
Here
Here we go. That's all how you dip it. Here we go. Open up your Dunkaroos box. Taking out a cookie and dipping it in your icing. It's all in how you dip it. All right, Jack is now just dancing, which is an iconic ska move to just be the guy who dances. He's skanking, I think. He's trying. It looks like you're playing rock, paper, scissors with yourself.
I win.
All right, we all win.
Rock, paper, scissors.
This is all still part of the
This
song,
is all-
too.
this is- these are the lyrics of the song.
Including this sentence
It's
explaining
very John Cage.
It's all in how you dip it. Get your Dunkaroos in.
Pass me the graham. Pass me the chocolate. Pass me the cinnamon.
Mix it together. Lunchables.
Don't
It's
speak.
another thing.
No.
I know what you're saying. What's fresh in here? I am the Kingpin in season 3 of Daredevil.
Scatter the Vooch.
It's Kaboovie, Jack.
movie. That's the impression I get. What was the other thing we were talking about? This is still a song.
This is all still the song,
What
yep.
was the thing we were talking about?
What's fresh? That's part of the chorus.
Dunkaroos ska. Now sing it again in Canadian French.
Encore cru, Scott Nelson se regroupe en France et Canadien.
10 more seconds to kill.
We got
10
time to
more
kill
seconds
before
to
the
kill.
show ends. The show's not open yet. This is still part of the song, and this sounds more like
Our
Grandmaster
house
Flash.
in the middle of us.
Oh, there we go. It's very surprising that song was as big a hit as it was.
I know it's really, really unconventional lyrics.
It is. It really, really is. So that is it for this episode of 90s Percentile. As you heard, our 60 minutes are
That
up.
was probably the last episode. I think we may have lost.
We can't top that one.
The only people who might have liked that were the New Zealish
That's right.
speakers who gave up at the top of the show.
So write in and let us know if you liked it. Okay, Jack, so it is the end of the show. Jack, what did you learn today?
I learned that Dunkaroos may have had a Shrek-flavored theme.
I learned that they may not have had a Shrek-flavored ice
Could
cream.
be either way.
Or I've also learned that you and I really missed our calling as ska musicians.
We really did.
We really,
With
really
our
did.
unconventional John Cage lyrics.
So thanks, everybody. If you want more content from WEE Studios, you can check us out. Worst Episode Ever is our Simpsons podcast. And we also have our Sync Points movie commentaries. You can get all of that at weepodcast.com. You can also go to weepodcast.com and get all of our 90s Percentile stuff. We do have a separate 90s Percentile website. We're probably going to bring it all together at some point.
At some point. We
As soon
keep
as I
saying
have
that.
the time. I don't have a lot of time in my life. And you can click through our Amazon links on weepodcast.com and help support this show. That helps keep the show free. We like that. And you can follow 90s Percentile on Twitter. We're at 90s Percentile. You can follow me personally. I'm at Then Dan Says.
I'm at Jackie No Breaks.
And we really want you guys to, if you like the show, if you like what we're doing, even in this episode, which kind of, we got away from us at the end.
It got away from us in
beginning.
30 seconds in.
If you like the show, review it on iTunes. That really,
Yeah,
really
it
helps
helps
us
us
out.
a lot. And we're going to try to, we see other podcasts do this. I feel a little uncomfortable reading other people's reviews of our show because
Right.
it's almost like we're patting ourselves on the back.
Yeah, but,
this
you
is,
know.
but this is, I'm not doing it. We're not doing it because of that. It's more like, thank you to the people who took the time to write it.
Yes, so we're going to read one of our 90s Percentile
Yeah,
reviews
actually,
from iTunes.
I'm going to read two because one
Oh,
is
okay.
long and one is short.
a twofer. This is a
Yeah.
bonus content.
So this one is our very first review from back in January from JF410. It says, Jack and Dan always deliver. I'm a huge fan of these guys and their other podcast, Worst Episode Ever, a Simpsons
you.
podcast. which you guys should check out. They are true entertainers and love podcasting. Well, we kind of hate it, but
we've grown to hate it, but
definitely don't miss this one, especially if you're a 90s kid or if you're just an adult who happened to have done 10 years, a 10-year stretch in the 90s.
There you go.
And also check out their Sync Points audio commentaries on Gumroad, #Groofic for life.
Nice.
So I really want to thank JF410. That was a great review.
You didn't write that, right?
No,
That's as an actual listener.
No,
Okay, good.
I'm
Great.
JP410.
Oh, okay.
And our second review, not as long, from Pale Earnhardt, and he just said,
clever.
needs more Hemus.
Well, if you don't understand what that means, listen to our Worst Episode Ever podcast, where Hemus is always a recurring guest. Not on this show, because this is 90s Percentile, and guys, that's the end of our show. My name is Dan.
My name is Jack, and we'll see you in another decade.